Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. And guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. And I think this is going to be stream 53. And we're going to be talking about the importance of radical acceptance in the last days. Now, I want to premise this right out the gate tonight before I get into this. And shalom to everybody coming to the building. Much love to everybody. Is that I want to premise this coming in is that this is not like trying to tell people do the Jim Jones and drink the Kool-Aid kind of thing and like religious extremism or anything like that. And furthermore, I would tell you, be as harmless as doves, but wise as servants. Blend in this world, but not be of the world. In it, but not of it, right? Because I think I've said this before, guys. Hey, shalom to everybody. Hey, shalom, folks coming in from London. I think I've said this before, is that, you know, the three most dangerous zealots in the world to me is people that are all about trust the science. And when the science fails, trust the scientist. And y'all seen that in the past 2 years. Science zealots. All right. Those people. Then you've got the religious zealots that it's just you have to believe what I believe because I said it. And, you know, it's like my beliefs don't require you to believe what I believe. You know, I don't have to force you to believe what I believe. You want to believe what I believe, that's fine, but it's not imperative to me to make you believe what I believe. Furthermore, I want you to accept it because of free will. And then lastly is political zealots, because let's face it, politics are not for us. Governments are not for us. I'm not a anarchy person, an anti-government person kind of thing like that. I understand there's got to be structure and order, but these are not Torah-founded governments. These are not governments that care about doing the right thing by the people, by the Most High that created them, or anybody for that matter. Okay. And let's face it, most political establishments to this day are a registered corporation. They're all about making money, and we're just the lemmings out there making it happen for them. So I just want to premise that, because as people listen to me tonight, you may disagree with me. I don't really have a slideshow to put up today. I have a few images, things I want to share and stuff. But I mean, that's makes no Pokemon for Poncho. That's right. Jab free in East Tennessee, baby. And round two, I plan to be jab free too. But as there's going to be a second round, but we need to just look at this very clear-minded today, that radical acceptance, which is something for me that is still to this day painful to even compartmentalize in my brain, because if I had to accept all the truths that I've accepted right now, swapping gears from a worldly standpoint, it would be absolutely soul crushing. And it's not that I don't want to do the right thing. It's because there would be so much to take on and to deprogram and reprogram. I mean, it would be like a massive hard drive reset. And, you know, but it's just, I feel sorry for people in this situation right now, but for all of us that do believe the truth and want to walk out the truth and see the time we're living in and the state of affairs, I mean, we are definitely living in the last days. I'm just telling you. I mean, I've got it on my notes, I think, to remind everybody, and I'm going to continue reminding everybody. Current thing that's big red flag to me is, you know, the river Euphrates drying up, but we'll talk about that in a minute for some other things. But this is paramount that we understand that you need to have a mindset where that you can just have radical acceptance of where we're at, what is going on, where we are at the end of time, where we are prophetically, which puts us at the end of time, and understand that there's really no turning back from here. And what will be. The American dream is garbage at this point. You know, the 2-story house, white picket fence, all that stuff. It's game over, folks. I mean, like, we are all truly gifted from the Most High if we have 4 walls and a roof over our head and a meal at this point. Like, that's where I'm at with this world. It's gotten that far gone, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. Like, it is just the facts, right? All right. So I think that was a very calm premise that's laid out. I want to also say that content and things shared on here does not necessarily reflect my views or the views of Seven Trumpets Prepper channel. And also what I'll be sharing on here should be covered under fair use. All right. So with that said, I think the important thing to lay out is, what is radical acceptance? because I want people to come at this from not really a worldly standpoint and not really from like a religious standpoint, because this is a hard truth show and I cover religion, politics, society as a whole, just everything. It's the full circle I try to cover. But I want you to approach this from just a clinical standpoint, clinical psychology standpoint. I'm not a registered clinical psychologist. All right. I'm an electrician. All right. And a factory plant manager nowadays, guys. Okay. I am just a simple guy, but there is a baseline of what I'm talking about here. And here's a couple different definitions so that you can understand. Radical acceptance is the ability to accept situations that are outside of your control without judging them. Oh, real quickly, I'm going to throw that slide back up again. I just want to point out two things I forgot real quick. Where is my slide? Hold on. Sorry, guys. Just 1 second right here. Upcoming things. I don't have the one for Hallelujah Scriptures yet that they'll be doing the United and Y'all thing. But I do have this one for the Jeremiah Conference 23 and 3. That'll be the first of the year on the pagan Roman calendar, the 1314. The address is at the bottom there. You can check out more at Boom Church. I think that's international, int.org, the new on the website there. And then also, guys, if you missed the last streams that I did, we talked about the world faith leaders plan, the climate justice, universal 10 commandments. That is crazy. That is making airwaves all over the internet right now. And apparently they smashed a set of commandments too up there, just blasphemous stuff they did. And then I also talked recently about what does the Bible say about World War III, relationship struggles in the last days, what we can do to protect ourselves. And of course, tonight we're going to be talking about the importance of radical acceptance last days. So just make sure to check out the playlist on that. Also, 2 last notes. I am so sorry I got so caught up in laying a baseline out for this. I got off track from what I normally do. Guys, make sure to go over and subscribe at Odyssey. Links in the video description below. That way, just in case YouTube ever does dispose of me over here, you have a fallback from our content because it will still be over at Odyssey, y'all willing. And also for those that's watching, I stream this on Sabbaths at 6 p.m. Eastern time currently. And I do it on new moon days at 12 Eastern time. Okay. And you can find out when those days are by downloading the World's Last Chance scriptural calendar app. And it's free on Apple or Android device. Okay. So with that said, and I went squirrel there for a second, I apologize. Hey, I still got to deal with almost 7-minute mark like normal. Is we were talking about the definition of radical acceptance. All right. And so it's the ability to accept situations that are outside of your control without judging them. Okay. Because we need to, especially those of us that believe in the scripture and want to follow it, we need to understand that what will be, will be. I was reading the book of Abraham, the Apocalypse of Abraham today, and Most High was explaining Abraham in that book. You know, Abraham's asking, like, why is this all going down? And it's like, because the Most High ordained it would be this way. All this has to play out. And furthermore, free will has to play out. People are going to make their own decisions, and we always need to try to make the best decisions with the best information in hand we have and do it by scripture. Guys, I'll read the comments just a second before we go too much into this. But if you also want to donate, you can do so via the links in the video description below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Like I said, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so. I will see it live real time on PayPal too if you donate on there. This is another definition. Radical acceptance is acknowledging and accepting reality as it is, rather than how we think it should be or want it to be. Radical refers to accepting something all the way, completely, 100%. And this is also why that I wanted to premise this. And I'm not trying to tell you like, be like Jim Jones and drink the Kool-Aid. That is not where I'm at with this. What I'm saying is we need to take the information we have at life as it is and completely 100% accept it and not be like, well, you know, hope is intoxicated. Hope is dangerous when directed in the wrong direction. Okay. So we can hope for the best, but we need to plan for how things are actually going to play out. Acceptance is about letting go of all the should in our lives. Acceptance means acknowledging the reality of our lives. And the last one is acceptance of reality as is. Acceptance is complete and comes from deep within. Emotional/physical pain plus non-acceptance equals suffering. I almost want to put the little green Yoda quote from Star Wars up here. Is that what is it? hate leads to suffering. Blah, blah, I'm going to botch this up. And suffering leads to, or hate leads to evil. Evil leads to the dark path or whatever, and then that leads to ultimately suffering. Just think of the little green guy. I botched that up terribly. But anyway, this kind of leans me back toward what that little guy said. Let go and stop fighting reality. Letting go transforms unbearable suffering into more ordinary pain, which is part of life. Turning of the mind implies that acceptance is an active choice and requires an inner commitment. All right. I feel like I'm doing a life coaching session here. All right? I'm not a life coach either, but I mean, I'm saying this because that the important of what we're about to apply this to. And sorry, I just want to read something. Say, did you hear the chained creatures on the phrase? Guys, they done a thing about that and showed that it would look like that was put together when they observed the audio and there was like a splice in it. I'm not buying that one right now. But now the Euphrates is definitely drying up. That part, I will 100% sign off on, just so I air that laundry out right there, because I'm seeing a lot of comments about that in the stream tonight. All right, so the first thing that I want to say with this is free will. Free will to me is so important because I know that you can force people, you can manipulate people, you can coerce people, you can bribe people, you can make people feel bad into doing things. And I'm not down for that. I guess it's probably some of my Sigma male mentality is that I want people to be 100. And in order for me to get the best out of the interaction or whatever relationship that is with somebody, whatever interaction it is, personal, business, spiritual, whatever. Oh, you're welcome for clarification on that, guys. I can't remember who done a video on that, but they actually took the thing and broke it down, segmented, and showed the audio. And there's literally a splice in where they've spliced stuff together and made all that jarbled up sound. And right here, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Thank you, Tyler Porter. I definitely botched that up a minute ago. Man, okay. But you want people to have free will, okay, and or at least I do, because you will get the absolute best out of that person if they're allowed to operate in free will. Now you will get the worst out of people too. All right. And what is important to understand from that is that just as Abraham, if you read the Apocalypse of Abraham, which by the way is a phenomenal read, I went back through it today. And I was also comparing the, I forget what it is, the Testament of Levi. And I was comparing it with the Apocalypse of Abraham about the dew that is in the storehouse of heaven to help in the process of resurrecting the dead in the very last day or something like that. And anyway, it's the Apocalypse of Abraham chapter 19. And then in the Testament of Levi, I can't remember exactly what chapter, forgive me, it evades me at the moment, but also in Isaiah, I think it's 23 or 26. I was reading it today. Also, hold on just a second. I've got it on eSword for anybody that's interested in this. And yes, I know I'm going squirrel second. Yeah, I believe it was Ezekiel 26. I'll have to pull it back up. It's 26, 29, but it talks about, hold on. Let me just do this, guys. I don't want to lie to you. I've got it on my notes here. Ezekiel or Isaiah. Oh my goodness. All right, Isaiah 26 and 19. Here you go. Thy dead shall live, my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust, for thy dew is the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Anyway, and its Hebrew word is 29:19. I was going back through and looking at all that. But anyway, the reason I was looking at that is because it all pertained to the resurrection. And you can read it in that. You can read it in Testament of Levi and Apocalypse of Abraham, and they talk about this dew. And of course, I'm sure the elders were writing that with the best intent they could, but I was just curious what this dew was, the best definition of. But anyway, just went kind of side investigating today on that. But you want people to have free will, okay? That is so imperative for people to have free will. And the reason I want people to operate in that free will too is so that when I do have radical acceptance with this world and with everything around me, I have tried to leave my feelings at the door. I've tried to leave my hopes, dreams, and aspirations at the door. Not that I'm telling everybody else to do that. The reason I've done that is I'm like, I want people to act a certain way. I want my family to be a certain way. I want everybody to get along. I want this, I want that, and blah, 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 blah. I can't go inside everybody's mind and make people act right. Okay. So I need a baseline to operate from and know where I'm at. And so that's why I tell you, when it comes to accepting radical acceptance, that's all fine and good. And there's another reason why Luke's very careful to tell you, don't do the Jim Jones drink the Kool-Aid thing, because I want people to operate in their free will. I want them to love me because their free will told them to. I want them to, not because they had an agenda. I want people to love the Most High and do the right thing because they want to. Not because there's some ulterior motive or motivations. I mean, like, I may be burned up one day in the lake of fire, and I still sit here, sound mind reason, and I still decide to myself, it is better to serve the Most High and be destroyed one day than to still serve Satan. I would rather try my best to honor the one that created me, right? Okay, so that settles free will, right? So when you start thinking about radical acceptance, I think the most important thing to do is work from your circle outwards. And I've talked about the circle effect method before, how I decompartmentalize things nowadays, especially after going through divorce, losing friends, family, practically everything, and starting over. It really wakes up the mind, and it makes you think, dang, I need to tread as careful as possible because I really got put through it. And so when you think like that, you work backwards from your circle is your family, your friends, your coworkers, etc., and your faith community, which is your church, and your job. Somewhere on this short list, at some point in your life, if not already, someone will pull a Judas. I got told recently that I hated women. And I got to thinking about that in the short space of time between then and us doing this stream. And I was like, I don't hate women at all. What I hate is how in this generation most women operate, is because it's not about love. It is about instant gratification, instant validation. It's about what's in their feelings at the moment. It's not about the long term. It's not about the good of everyone. It is about me, 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 me. That is the issue I have. I don't hate women. I think it's one of the most awesome things that was ever created in all of eternity, period. But when women agree with that statement that I made, further reinforces how bad the situation is, because so many act bad that the few that are good are like a lighthouse on the seashore in a dark night. And so most men are walking away from relationships. And I'm using this as an example to segue into radical acceptance. So I've had to just radically accept that, dang, half of marriages out here end in divorce. I'm not a piece of waste because that I went through a divorce. Like 50% of people will be divorced. 80% of them divorces are actuated by the woman. That tells me there is a serious fundamental problem, and somebody's free will choice decided to blow up that relationship. Okay, because not all these men are out here cheating. They're providing for their family. They're working. They're doing the right thing. Sure, there's dirtbags out here, but there's some statistics that's starting to add up over these decades, and they don't lie. And so when I use that as an example here, probably not the best one to come out of the gate with, but it's going to be the first one I hit with, is that as a man, you have to have radical acceptance and say, okay, please note the if I proceed forward, I have a 50-50 chance that just like a plane's going to go down and I don't have a parachute, if I get on this plane, I may not make it from A to B. That's how serious relationships are anymore. Men look at the risk on that. They're like, dang, I may lose my home, my vehicle, my livelihood, my freedom, your freedom. Like, people literally go to jail over child support. People get felonies and can't own a firearm anymore. Like, this is serious stuff. Most females don't think about this, the ramifications of this. And I mean, it's just what it is. And so as a man, you have to have radical acceptance and look at that and be like, dang, this is the risk. This is the risk versus reward. Same thing with any more moving forward. Like, when I left the church house, I was like, all right, I had to accept after I read the scripture and I seen everything that it was saying, I'm like, okay, number one, I had to radically accept that we were in the last days. And I'm saying, I keep reinforcing this word, radical acceptance, because I had to 100% commit. I 100% walked out of Babylon. I left, and I have not went back. All right. Like when I cut it off for good, I never went back. And so that right there is an example, another example, radical acceptance. I knew with my free will, we're not walking out the scripture here in this institution. Now I have a choice. I can stay here and go along to get along, or I can leave and walk out the truth and try to honor the Father and keep his commandments, his Sabbaths, his statutes, judgments, new moons, appointed times of worship, and actually do this thing right. And so I decided to walk out and do that which is right. And, it's like with family and friends, I'm sorry, with jobs. You have to radically accept that most people at your job, say you're a person of faith, right? Or you've moved up in a position of power, et cetera, something. You have to accept that not everybody there is for you. Let me tell you something. I think two of the greatest tests for me and one of them I explained to my wife the other day when we were in a traffic jam, is that these are the two greatest tests that tell me that when things go completely sideways, whether it's zombie apocalypse or seven trumpets revelation or anything in the plethora between, is that most people will do terrible things to their fellow man just to get by. And you say, well, how can you arrive at that? Okay. In the workplace, literally people will smile, be kind to you, and 5 minutes later, they'll go in the corporate office and stab you in the back. All right. Now that's facts. It's all the time cutthroat in job site or in the workplace. Second thing is that I'll tell you in a second, is that when you get in traffic jam, right? People, I'll slow up and I'll try to let somebody over. Other people will cut each other off, do all sorts of ridiculous stuff, run you over just to get on up the road. It's just, it's crazy. And that right there, those two things show me that it's something as simple as that. I think a third one, an honorable mention that somebody brought up is that, you have to be a pretty bad it tells you if you are a good person or a semi-bad person is just by putting your shopping cart back. There's no law against putting your shopping cart back or not. However, it's your obligation to put it back when you're done shopping, but nobody's there to police you on it. So it really is a moral, conscious, free will decision to put your shopping cart back. And it really says a lot about society, because I'll watch people that won't put their shopping cart back, and I'm like, you can, I'm not trying to judge people, but you can just see the outward appearance and then see them not put the shopping cart back. And I'm like, there you go. Like the outward usually bears fruit of what's inside, right? And so I'm just saying these little tiny things right here show you a litmus test of how society will act in life. And you need to come to a point of radical acceptance that you can love your family, but you need to take them at face value. If they don't believe the way you do, they have always been a meddlesome problem in your life, blah, 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 you need to keep them at arm's length. Same thing at your job, watch your back. Same thing in your friends and your relationship with your spouse. Like everybody, if you come to the point of waking up in this life, like you swallowed the red pill and you woke up and you see things how it is, you need to accept that these people are going to be the same. All right. You know how scripture, or actually, I'll use this example. What it was the Hunger Games. Pan Am today, Pan Am tomorrow, Pan Am forever. When they had that on the city there, that was the nation or whatever. All right. Well, they're going to be the same today. They're going to be the same tomorrow, and they're going to be the same right into eternity. Folks, we're living in the last days, and people acting like there's 1,000 more years to come. Nobody cares. That's just that's just how it is. And they have been given over to strong delusion. And real quickly, I just wanted to read a couple of these comments here before we move further. It said, some cases, it is the ex-husband that hauls the woman over the coals in a terrible way. Past 10 years have been absolute hell inside Yahweh's terrarium for me because of what he did to me. And I'm so sorry, sis. It does go both ways. But like I said, with statistics nowadays, it is definitely leaning toward the one party. Just saying. Said the man who got my son and is getting money. I'm going through it, bro. I'm a woman. Yeah, and guys, I listen. I'm not saying it don't happen. It can go both ways. All right. Just got divorced. Oh man, she didn't believe in y'all. And I'm gonna tell you what. Listen, when she said that I'm too radical, let me tell you what you need to expect if you're under the sound of my voice right now is in this day that we're living in. Oh boy, we got a lot to cover here. We're 30 minutes deep almost. Is that if your spouse at this hour, this late hour in the last days that we're living in, has not come online yet, you probably need to go ahead and discount the fact that they are not ever going to wake up. And they are going to drop you off on the side of the road or at the family courthouse pay window. Or when the time comes, they may betray you and you be next thing you know at the FEMA camp or your head lopped off on a guillotine. Just saying. But like I said, you need to plan on this Judas treatment to you. We're talking about radical acceptance right now. But I mean, we should definitely be mindful of this situation. All right. Now, all right. Next thing I want to do is sorry, just a second, guys. All right. So when we look at what is coming, most people want to continue to live the American dream or the best ability they can of the American dream. They want to continue some kind of quality of life. And I understand that. And I want people to have the very best quality of life they can. And, oh yeah, shout out to you, Tay. I'm so sorry about that. I wish you all the best. I hope you find someone that walks out the way, loves y'all. You have a wonderful marriage in the future, brother. When we look at what's coming, plagues, all right, number one, I mean, guys, you can count on plagues coming from this point forward, because if you didn't live in the past 2 years and see all the push of pharmaceutical drug sorcery up on every nation, man, woman, and child, young and old, gray of head, and infant, of toddler, tiny tot, if you didn't live and see all that go on, then you obviously was like in some cryo freeze sleep, because the plagues will continue to come. And then, of course, the Most High will send plagues upon this earth in these last days too. And we need to radically accept these following things. Just when, like, turning off the news, just literally turn the news off. I tell you what, I've got to overcome this about myself. But when I see the news, I get triggered. Like, you literally can be having the best time in the world with me, and you turn the news on, I will go from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. It does something to my spirit. It agitates me. You would almost think I had a demon. And it's because I'm angry at the news. Like, it is just full of lies and deception and unnerving, and makes people's hearts just fear for what's coming up on the earth. And not only that, you know, the pushing of politics. Like, look, Donald Trump, I guess, officially announced he was going to run for president today. Listen, I'm going to tell y'all what. I don't want to dabble in politics too much for a minute, but if I was going to vote for anybody, I'd vote for DeSantis as president. If I was just worldly and going to still be a part of this political system, because at least the dude brings something to the table. I'm tired of Trump. I'm tired of Biden. I'm tired of all these jokers. It is just nuts. Now, shout out to Biden, though. When there's a Democrat in office, man, business is good for the world off grid. I'm not really in business doing off grid work anymore, but I'm gonna tell you what, tiny house land, they sell a ton of off grid houses. Over there, off grid division, man, them boys be popping nowadays. All right, so another thing that we need to look at is war. The world issues like climate change and plagues, we're going to see the heels of the New World Order. You're going to see that New World Order march in on the heels of that. But I'm telling you what, it's going to get wild out here, and they're going to keep on pushing until NATO is at war with the Iron Curtain. Like, I am not believing that I'm seeing a replay of the Cuban Missile Crisis, but this time actually the Cold War is going to be a hot war. Like, it's going to get hot on this one. I mean, I will be absolutely mind blown if that North and South Korea ain't in war by the end of the year, by the end of this coming year, and that NATO and the Iron Curtain, the new USSR 2.0, is not at war by the end of next year, I will literally be in shock and awe. And I will say, as an honorable mention, that if there ain't war in the Middle East or Second Ezra 16 be popping off soon, I will really be shocked. All right, because that river Euphrates getting dried up for them kings of the East come. And you know, the Quran talks about in a passage in it, and listen, I'm not encouraging people to go read up on the Quran, all right? I'm not telling you to become Islamic. I'm just telling you I've read a lot of Catholic catechism back in the day, and I tried to read up on the Quran because you need to know your enemy, all right? You need to know your enemy. But that's like King James gets a lot of knocks about that. He wrote that book about demonology and stuff too. And it's like, that's a handbook for identifying what you're combating against. Like, I don't know. I won't even get on that in a moment. I can get on a whole tangent on some of this stuff, but in the Quran, it talks about, I guess, that after the water's dried up, that there is a mountain of gold that will be found. And then when that mountain of gold is found, there will be, I think it's like 100 men will fight and only one will be alive to walk away and tell. Like, there's going to be like a massive throwdown over gold in the river, a mountain of gold that'll be discovered. And they were showing a video on TikTok or something, or on YouTube Shorts, about the some finding gold in there already or something, I guess. But moving forward, the wars, it's going to come. I mean, we need to radically accept that you're living in a generation that you're going to continue to see this play out. I mean, you're going to continue to see this. And furthermore, AI watching us and robots and humans mixed with AI, guys, this is something else that we need to radically accept in our minds. That all the sci-fi stuff we've seen in the 80s, like from Terminator to the Matrix, you name it, most of this stuff you're going to start seeing is reality. I seen this AI robot the other day talking to a person at a trade show, and it was terrifying. Like the authenticity of it. And he asked it if it had a soul or believed in something, and it said it believed in nothing because it had nothing or something like that. Like, it was brutally honest. And I was just like, wow. I was like, you're interacting with a soulless creature that is fully aware of itself for the most part. I'm like, this is getting terrifyingly real in the sci-fi realm. Like, we're passing the threshold to cyberpunk, just like I talked about. Are we going towards steampunk or cyberpunk in the future? And I know some people in the stream agreed with me, is that we're going to go full cyberpunk mode, like dystopian future, and things are going to collapse, and we're going to roll all the way back to the 1800s, like steampunk, because technology is going to fall in on itself. It's going to, and of course the trumpets and everything else, it's going to just turn this world upside down. Famine, broke nations, and etc. Listen, guys, many people don't understand that America is like one heartbeat away from being the next Venezuela. I really don't think people understand that. Like, California is consuming its own soul. And the Midwest out there is falling off the hinges, and like, people are leaving there in mass exodus, taking all their money, coming out here on the East and buying land to move out here because it's so bad out there. And you know, I was hoping for a steampunk. Hey, let me tell you, in steampunk situation, lunatic fringe, you would definitely be better off, because you're not being hovered over by AI, and a lot of the technology, you're going to be rolled back to way back. We're not going to have to deal with a lot of garbage we would with a cyberpunk thing. I mean, like, have a drone be driving over cities nowadays looking for you. They won't even need the police anymore. They'll just find you in your bed sleeping at night. It's going to get scary. And but with famines, I mean, like, we need to plan for that. Like, there's so many things. We're going to be a third world country soon. The U.S. is going down the toilet fast. Absolutely, Tess. I see it, and it hurts me. I guess what hurts me is that I see that it is inevitable. Like, we're on a collision course that our politicians and so many people in big tech, big pharma, big news, big oil, like, all these people are so money driven and need more money, need more profits, need more capitalism, blah, 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 that that it's eventually going to come to the point that they're going to bankrupt this country. And Thomas, I'm glad to hear that right now. But I also seen the other day, personally, somebody I know that believes in the Most High, that literally showed me their local grocery store thing, and the shelves were bare, and it was a legitimate source. So I'm just telling you, like, what I see is a small domino fall. It is. It's not an instantaneous falling over, and I think that's why that the most people that are lulled to sleep right now do not see the devastating end that is going to come to this nation. Because I'll give you an example. Crypto market the other day. What was it? FTX exchange, I think it was. It was like third largest crypto exchange. Took a dump the other day. I lost like $2,000 in 24 hours, right? And keep in mind, guys, I'm a cryptocurrency miner, right? I actually need to do some work on my Black Flag crypto mining channel. I started that, and then I just YouTube's done so much stuff. It's just like really de-incentivized me to be on here. It really has. I'm becoming more and more of a hermit the more days go by. I just used to make so much content. Nowadays, this is about it. Yeah, FTX, Camille, thanks. Yeah, it was FTX. And they lost like, oh gosh, I can't even begin to tell you how many millions of dollars like that was lost the other day, just in like 24 hours. It was insane. I think 100 million was lost in like 24 hours at least. Crypto market went down from, or maybe it was 100 billion. I think it was 100 billion that was lost in 24 hours. And, anyway, you just need to plan for that. Everything's going to fall flat on its face one day. And, see, when I seen that, ever since the first time I invested in crypto, I've tried to treat it as if whatever I put in there, if I lost, it was no big deal. Like I put that in there and I forgot about it. And the reason I'm doing that is it's not a get rich quick thing for me. Like, it is an investment for me so that when the time comes that we do finally have another bull run again, yeah, it was billions, Tyler. Yeah, 100 billion, I think, is that when we do have a bull run again, and I believe the market will come back again. It may go down again, up again too, and have a lot of waves over the next years ahead, especially into the time frame before AI becomes fully autonomous in 2025. And then these government crypto coins are going to be the thing. They're going to do something to kill all these private industries things. But I'm going to cash that out when the time comes, and then I'm going to use that for whatever last preps that I can get it for. Get for me before times get tough, because this crypto means nothing to me. But the tangible money that I can take out of that and get tangible goods, now that has value to me. So it's a means to an end for me right now. All right. And also an investment that makes money while I sleep. So we look at it. Another point that I want to make. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. One of my lights over here got popped off for a second. One of the other things that I want to point out is, if that will stay, is that the river Euphrates drying up should be a trigger for anybody that has focused on biblical prophecy over the years, that is such a clear, paramount, definitive marker that shouldn't, I mean, even a pagan should be able to pick up the scripture, okay, a non-believer, and look at that book and be like, right there, 2 millennia ago, this thing was written practically, that this would be drying up about 2 millennia ago now. And so you look at that and you're like, okay, so 2,000 years ago, this said this would go down. And here it is happening. That should be a wake-up call to anybody. Now, that's just one prophetic thing that's happening before our very eyes that we can agree on about, yeah, that's that. Now, whether they're a believer or not, it's one thing, but at least you can look at a tangible document that says this was going to happen, and it's happened. And the Bible was what said it would go down, literally and figuratively. It's going down, right? But thank you, Terry. Yep, I agree. And but thing is that we need to radically accept, if you haven't at this point, okay, we are 110%. We are 110% at the point where we know we're at the biblical prophecy at the time of the end. And that should give peace of mind to you that it's like, okay, any long-term hopes, dreams, aspirations, I get it. A lot of people have them. Okay. And that's all fine and good. I had a ton of them. But what we need to be focusing on right now is the inner work of our soul, cleaning out the garbage, because we all got it. And anybody says they ain't, they a liar, and the truth ain't in them. Okay. What is that? To law and testimony, if they speak not according to that, the truth is not in them. Isaiah 8:20, right? So we all, what was it? Paul said he was wretched. I've seen this thing where it was comparing Joel Osteen to Paul, and Paul said he was like wretched or wicked or whatever it was. And that was like, it was just this one line quote out of the scriptures. And then it had Joel Osteen and it said, I am righteous, I am good, I am blah, blah. And it was just all this stuff. And I was like, boy, what a comparison of a true teacher compared to a false teacher. Yeah. And, servants said Mississippi Reaper is going down the same and had same town names on it. Yeah. There's a lot going on, guys. There is a lot going on. And but we need to radically accept that, because that is a reality that nobody can deny, or you can deny it at this point, but it ain't going to take away from the fact that it's happening. All right. Couple more. Well, actually, there's a lot more, but I'm trying to wrap through these. I want to say this because I haven't spoke to it in a while. And I think I'm going to do a video about the fake satellites in space and a lot of this NASA junk, because they're really starting to kick up the NASA thing again. It just makes me sick. I guess NASA done a rocket thing again the other night or something. Now they're getting back in business to go to the moon. I'm like, we ain't been to the moon. And since like what? 50 years. Has it been 50 years or something now, I think? And it's like all of a sudden this is an important thing again. Is it maybe because everybody's starting to wake up to the flat earth truth again? We got to get that propaganda cooking again. Is that you look at it and this world is flat under geostationary dome. Water's above and water's below. I mean, just facts. And there's so many things that's so evident of that. And we need to take into account and realize the fact that there is going to be massive propaganda in the years ahead to feed us space garbage and believe that all this stuff's going on in space and blah, 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 and this and that. And when in reality, you need to recognize the fact that what the scripture says is where we live and what that world looks like. That's a reality too. Just like the river Euphrates drying up, we literally live in an enclosed world. And of course, now there's 7 domes above us. And that's another thing, is the apocalypse of Abraham really breaks down the world we live in. Outstanding breakdown. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 16. We need to radically accept that moving forward, that, that we're going to experience and see the conflicts in the Middle East take place. What do you, Babylon, Asia? What do you, Egypt, and Damascus? Put on haircloth, sackcloth, away, you sons and daughters, because destruction is nigh at hand. And it goes on down in the chapter, talks about the beginning of sorrows. And I'll never forget this. Elder Joe taught me and Brother Joel years ago about that. I didn't even know what was up with that. And now it's so clear to me. I see what's coming is that Iraq, Iran, Egypt, and which is and Damascus is going to be which is modern day Syria. It's going to be a ruinous heap. And Isaiah 17 talks about the burden of Damascus, that Damascus will be a ruinous heap. And we need to radically accept that these things are going to happen. Any suggestions on where to get the Apocalypse Abraham? Google it, guys, and it will bring up, I believe it's a Educational Institute has a full readout on it. Please note, I've seen there's 2 variations of how it's translated. And like, for example, chapter 19 has that about the dew in one of them. Another translation, it just talks about dew, but then it doesn't leave the rest of the translation in it past that, talking about that's for the spirits of the dead or whatever, for the day of resurrection, etc. I mean, very interesting stuff. Have you talked to Ron Dalton? His movie was mentioned on SNL by Dave Chappelle. That's exciting. No, I had not seen that. Can somebody please send me a link on that? And Brother Fearmonger, I tell you what, I appreciate you, man, for the donation to the channel, guys. That is outstanding. $50 donation. I appreciate you so much. For those of you who have donated, supported this channel over time. Love y'all. All right. Next up, we've got the 7 trumpets. That's something that people better radically accept, because I don't know if you've seen the other day, but this guy in California, his house literally got burnt down by one of the stars looked like falling out of the heaven. And it literally turned it to scorched earth. And when a third of the stars fall out of the heavens above, and a third of the green grass is burned up, and a third of the ships is wiped out of the sea, and a third of the, just you start going down through all this stuff. It's going to be quite the show to see. And if you have not radically accepted that and let go of the fact that there's not going to be a rapture, that we're going to see the literal return of Messiah here, we're going to see the new kingdom come down here, we're going to see a lot of things happen here, and you're going to be here to see it yourself, and all eyes will behold him. I think that it'd probably be a wise time to accept that. Faith and hope. I talked about that earlier. I talked about that earlier, and very interesting stuff going on. They closed Yellowstone. Wow, that's interesting. But there's going to be a lot happen that people need to be mindful of. And I tell you what, guys, the only way to overcome this is to fully, wholly, 100% take on the scripture, accept it at face value for what it says, and get ready for what is coming. And the only way most people are going to even remotely be able to overcome this is radical acceptance. And right here, I've been trying to warn people about there not being a rapture. A lot of Christians are going to be disappointed and lost, I think is what you're meaning to saying that. Yeah, and the thing is when you've been lulled to sleep at the wheel with all that's going on, by the time that they realize and comprehend that, oh crap, the crap just hit the fan, I tell you what was that saying? I said, when the human fecal matter hits the vertical oscillator, when that epiphany moment hits them, you are past the point of return. For me, every day anymore, I get up and, oh yeah, I got you, Tess. I figured that's what you meant. When I get up and I go to work, I go to society, I go to live out life as in general as a whole. I try to go throughout society and be kind to everybody, carry on as calmly and peaceful as possible without causing any stir, as little as possible. Now I'll come on here and discuss things, and this is my space that I talk in. But I'm very quiet out in society anymore. I don't make a big fuss of things because I have radically accepted at this point that most people in general are not going to live out or do the right thing at this point. And if they haven't already came online, they're probably not going to come online. So the best thing to do and this is my personal thoughts on this right now, is to operate just like Neo and them did in the Matrix, is to be in the Matrix, but not really of it. But I'm going about my business, and I try not to be disruptive to anybody and not let anybody disrupt me. Because this thing is on a grand wind down. So many people are going to betray one another, and I think it's going to hurt people real badly. And I have been hurt, and I know what's up with this. And if you have radically accepted in your mind, yes, these things can and most likely and statistically will happen to me, and then you add the compound factor of the prophetic things the scripture guarantees will happen, if you've not fermented that in your mind, all right, and it's not a solid foundation in your mind yet, I think this time that we have been so graciously granted ahead, I think it's so important to let that sink deep in your soul and accept it for what it is. I guess for me, I want to shout out these two comments real quick. That's right, Pure Blood for Life. And no, I'm still hanging in there for now. Still hanging. But shalom, love y'all. is I guess what hurts me the worst, and I guess I'll end off this stream on this. And guys, this is pretty much the end of the stream. I hope it's been a help to you, but especially the mentality, like you really need to think about radical acceptance in the future. And like I said, I'm not on here preaching like James Jones, drink the Kool-Aid. I'm telling you to think for yourself, use free will, and operate within the Spirit, and keep the commandments, and have faith in the Messiah and honor the Father. That's what I'm saying. No matter what people say, be like 3 Hebrew children. I will not comply. Right. And bow down to that golden idol, which in the past couple of years has been bowed down to the jab. But I guess the one that hurts me the worst is I have very carefully spent time with friends and family and coworkers over the past 2 years. Intentional. Take them to dinner, go golfing, watch a movie, cook out at the house, fix dinner, just hang out, whatever. Take a trip together, sit on the seashore, whatever. And I have had long, in-depth conversation with people. And I've always made sure to get to the core of it. Did they take the jab? And I found that most people that were in my acquaintance realm, like I love them, but they're in my acquaintance realm and just, hanging out there. Those people took the jab. But people that were extremely close to me, that I love with my being, I can't hardly tell you one of them that took it. And that makes me so happy, because you're going to have to radically accept that most people that have already given into that are going to give into so many more terrible sadistic acts in the future. Absolutely, right there. No one wants to hear it, and they'll just call you crazy. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great one. I have that one actually marked off in my It's Affair, because the New American Standard Version, I think, is very close to the It's Affair, but vaulted domes over the earth. Yeah, found his vaulted domes over the earth, who calls the waters in the sea and pours them out. Yep, it's great stuff. I didn't take it either, Denise. I didn't take it either. Not today, not tomorrow, not evermore. I hate it in a way that my heart is torn, and I guess this is the last commentation I'll put on this. Is my heart is torn is that it is so refreshing to be so solidified and know where you stand at the end of days with what's going on prophetically. On the same measure, it's also disheartening and heartbreaking that it's like our ancestors had it made. All they had to do was work, take care of their family, live their life, and die. Now, a man can be taxed for child support. He pays a death tax when he dies. He pays tax on everything he does. He must work like a lemming, and then he must go home at his retirement. And when he's worked his whole life away and die, there's like just your whole life is just work, feed the system, do as you're told, don't question authority, and die. That's it. That literally, tell me I'm lying here. Somebody tell me, correct me, and say, Luke, you're lying just then. Because I'll tell you, I will argue this. I am not lying. I literally know of a situation where a person I know loved dearly, their loved one clocked out their last shift at their job and was going to go do retirement, and then they had a heart attack and died. Worked themselves stupid their whole life, and then went and had a heart attack, died. What was that? What did they gain from that? Nothing. And, it's sad. Right. It makes no sense. Best friend did, and she has changed so much. Yeah. I'm going to tell you guys, people that's taken this, they're not the same people. They're not the same people. They act differently. Their spirits changed about them, their demeanor. And vanity. You're right, fearmonger. Absolutely. It's vanity. And I was reading Ecclesiastes, the chapter about vanity, just the other day, from Solomon. Sister changed after she took it. She's like a robot now. It's so sad. Love y'all. I appreciate that you enjoy my thoughts on this stuff. And guys, I'm not ever going to tell you I'm 100% right on everything. I'll tell you this: I'm correct enough and often enough that I can get it right a better chunk than I get it wrong. And I'll never try to tell you something that's outlined outside of the baseline of Scripture. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think I've ever seen. If I would take the one moment to be vain and toot my own horn, I have never seen a channel on YouTube, faith-based, that has ever encouraged people more to think for themselves than I have. Most of the time, it's always listen to me, do what I tell you, I know what's up, blah, 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 blah. But I have never, ever seen a channel more than mine that has pushed people to think for themselves, especially in the delusional days that we are living in. Just nuts. And yeah, I think this may end up being the comment of the night right here. Remember, his elect are the ones who will witness his strong delusion. We are in the falling away. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have fought the delusion, if you have fought the jab, if you have maintained your self-autonomy, if you are awake to the prophetic things that are taking place, I encourage you at this point to radically 100% accept where we're at in the state of affairs. Compartmentalize it, put it in your heart, and do the best you can to remain calm and operate a normal life in the meantime, because there's nothing really we can do about it. The master is control, and ultimately he calls the shots. And I just trust in him to take care of me in these last days, because there is so much going on right now. I guess this will be the final comment. I think I already said that. Please forgive if I lied to you, but I guess this will be the final comment, is that there is so much going on right now that I cannot control everything around me, and I am like a ship tossed to and fro in the ocean. And I am just trusting, and I am praying and hoping, Master Y'all, please take care of it all, because I cannot. And for me, I think that's one of the most important things that drove me to research and understand from a mental health, psychological standpoint, so that my physical and spiritual health's not affected badly and negatively, is that I've had to take and really look at it, that it's like the effect of radically accepting who I am, where I'm at, the who, what, when, where, why, right? As if a reporter was doing an article on something, right? Is that I've had to sit down and look at that, and I'm like, who I am is a servant of y'all. Where I'm at is on this geostation, waters below, and I'm stuck in this situation right now. The when is I'm at the last days. What do we say? The who, what, the when, where, and why. And then the where, the when, yeah, and the why is because we're in a fallen world. And because of sin, original sin. And this is the end of the road. And we're watching the final pages of history play out. And once a person takes that, because for a long time I tried to live a normal life, but I would keep this all in the forefront of my mind. Now I have taken that internally and put it in my heart, and I accept it for what it is. And I'm not upset. I got to be honest with you. I'm probably the most comfortable I've been in my life in a long time. Now, there's a lot of junk going on in the background of my life, but spiritually and mentally, I'd say I'm about the calmest I've ever been, ever, because I just know what's up, and there is not a lot of effort needing to be put into changing things, because I don't have control over that. So I need to stay in my lane. So, guys, I hope that I have said something that you are at peace. Yeah, I appreciate that, Carlisle. I feel like that, and I pray that I can stay at peace. But now, like I said, guys, there's things in the physical realm of life. There's a lot of things I can't control either, and that will snatch your peace away at times, and that's just how it is. But you know, long and short of it, guys, I hope this stream's been a help to you. I don't know yet what I'm going to cover next week. There's a lot going on, and I don't know which things to prioritize at the top of the list to go over, but I will definitely find something to cover on that. Don't you worry about that at all. So, guys, as always, till we see you again here at Sam Trump's Prepper Channel, hope Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua's name.